All right, so so basically today I just had some things to cook, and I thought you guys might want to. What's always nicer to cook with a bit of company, and you know, and I know that there's always something to learn. So that's what we're doing. So the menu is. I've got to remember everything. I've got that many things prepped, and if we get through them all, we do. If we don't, we don't. That's all right. I've focused on the two that I said I'd do, which is the Tex-Mex chicken soup and the Friands. But I've also got some little. I went looked in my fridge what needed using up, and I've got broccoli, little mini muffin. Well, not muffins, which are savoury muffins, and also coriander pesto because I had coriander that needed using up. But we'll see how we go. Don't have to stay for the whole thing if you don't want to. But we'll get cooking, and I'm just going to transfer over to the Thermomix. Okay. Right, so I have saved these recipes. Actually, I'm just gonna. No, it's all right. It's all right. If you've got any questions as we're going through, as there's only a couple of you on there, feel free to. Don't shut down on me. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can just use the chat box, whichever you prefer. There are no silly questions, so I'm always happy to try and answer them. Anything. All right. So the recipes are saved in my week. I'm just going to my week here. I am going to Tex-Mex chicken soup. All right. So start cooking. So I have done this bit. Basically, it's asked me to put the barometer into position and weigh the chicken thigh fillets cut into pieces. Add 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning. There is a taco seasoning on Cookie Dough. I'd run out, but I'm just using Mexican seasoning, which is also on Cookie Dough. I love the fact that you can just whip these things up rather than going and buying them from the supermarket. So that's that one. When I run out of that, I'll probably make some more taco seasoning. So that is fresh bash. That's sitting in there. Now you might see that I've actually got a bit of baking paper in the bottom, and it was only because I had a little bit of baking paper that was that I'm reusing, and I've wet it and I've wrung out the water, so it is damp. That just means that the steam will come through quicker. If you do a dry baking paper, you're going to need longer to cook. So that is ready to go. Okay, next, 80 grams of onion. I've got my onion in here. I've got a couple of things in here. I've got my onion, I've got my garlic clove, and it says 1 to 2 jalapeno chilies, trimmed and cut into halves, these seeded if preferred. Now, I've actually got pickled jalapenos in a jar in the fridge because I made the Mexican scrambled eggs, not this weekend, the weekend before. And they were really good, by the way. But I needed pickled jalapenos for those. And I thought, I'm not going to go out and buy more jalapenos. I'm just going to use those up. So all those are going in. And then 20 grams of oil. So I've got my olive oil, so put that in. I love the fact now, you know, in the early recipes, it would be chop this and then add your oil. Now you'll find a lot of the time recipes will get you to add your oil or your butter at the same time, so that you can then pretty much go straight on into the cooking. So I've got my measuring cup in there, 3 seconds, speed 5. Okay, and I never stopped wondering, I mean, how amazing. You couldn't do that in 3 seconds, could you? Oh, and it smells fantastic too, by the way. So I'm just going to scrape my sides down here and pop it back on. Put my lid back on. 3 minutes, speed 1. All right, whilst that's doing that, we're going to come over to the other Thermomix here. Turn around a little bit more. And I'm going to start on the Friands. Okay, so a little bit of modification with this one. This says it is hazelnut quince Friands. I am using hazelnut meal. However, I'm not doing the quince bit. I've got some berries, so I'm going to use those. And this only came about because we were out for breakfast on Sunday, and I saw Friands in a little, you know, in one of those display cabinets. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I've got some berry cheese up. I'll use those. This is about doing the quince. So the way to get through that, I'm going to click on my three little dots here, recipe detail. I'm going to come down here. The first bit is my preparation, 40 minutes of steaming the quince, which I don't need to do. Preheat my oven to 170. Grease a Friand pan. Well, I don't have the Friands. You know, the Friands are sort of like an oval shape. I don't have one of those. I'm just using my mini muffin mold. That's fine by me. Okay. So this is the start of actually making the Friands. So take my lid off. Remembering I've got to tear because I've taken the lid off. And I have my raw sugar in here. The onion is smelling divine. 10 seconds, speed 9. And again, we forget, but look at that. You see the sort of steamy stuff, probably can't see very well against the white. But, you know, making your sugar, there's not many people who can actually make icing sugar in 10 seconds. You'd have to go out to the shop if you didn't have your Thermomix. Really quite incredible. All right, I'm going to put that back into this little bowl. So bear with me whilst I just do that off camera. I'll show you what it looks like in a sec. All right. So there we go. No need to run off to the supermarket for the icing sugar. That's done. Okay. Now, next it says 70 grams of hazelnuts. They're going in. Oh, onion's getting my eyes now. Lid on. And again, we're going to be 10 seconds, speed 8. Remembering everything that you buy ready processed costs more money. So this is saving us money. So I'm going to transfer that to a separate bowl and set aside. In the meantime, we're coming back to our Tex-Mex chicken soup. That bit's just, I think the reason it's getting my eyes is that chili in there as well. 150 grams of green capsicum. Now this is a bit more than 150 grams, but I'm not going to leave a little bit just sitting there in the fridge. So there we go. 400-gram canned chopped tomatoes. If anybody has any really great ideas about how I can stop buying cans of tomatoes, it's that and the coconut cream are the only cans I'm buying. I'll make my coconut milk, but I'm not so good with the cream. I probably need to practice. But I cannot find anything that really replaces a tin of tomatoes, even just mashing up the tomatoes. Okay. Break that out. All right. 1 teaspoon of chicken stock paste. I'm just going to grab that from the fridge. If you haven't made chicken stock paste, it's super easy. It's just a whole lot of green vegetables, well, onion, what else have I got in there? Onion, garlic, I think I've got zucchini in there. Can't remember what else. It just says some green vegetables, some chicken, your salt as usual, and not much. Oh, a few spices. So there's coriander seeds in there and cloves and things like that. Sorry, you couldn't even see that. But that is, it's a really delicious chicken stock. So I'm putting a teaspoon of that in. 650 grams of water. Well, I'm going to rinse out my tin, my tomato tin, so I get all the juice out of there. And add a bit more. Not bad, not a bad guess. Okay, 1.5 to 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning. So again, I'm using the Mexican. I'm just going to put a couple of teaspoons in, I think. So I've got a couple of heaped teaspoons going in there. Probably. Okie doke. Now I'm going to pop the varoma on. So I'm just popping my lid on, taking out the measuring cup, and popping the varoma with the chicken in it on there. Now, if you're not using the, you're not doing the paper, you just need to make sure that you've got some. The only reason I did the paper really was because I was prepping it beforehand. I didn't want anything dripping in my fridge. But if you were not using the paper, just make sure you've got some holes there for the steam to come through. So 20 minutes on reverse, speed 1. And how cool is it that our blades go forwards and backwards? Okay, back to the Friands. All right, so I'm just going to transfer my hazelnut meal. It's quite going to fit in the thing I pulled the hazelnuts out of. Slightly bigger bowl here. Into there. Scrape. Actually, I'm not going to scrape it because the next thing, it's actually going to go thoroughly clean and dry the mixing bowl. But I do know that later in this recipe, I need some brown rice flour. So I've just got my brown rice here, and I'm just going to turn that into flour. Oh, hang on. I'll go back. Just have a look at that. Might need a little bit longer. But it's actually a really good tip. We did a little, yeah, it needs a bit longer. But can you see there's some little bits of rice there in the top? I will pick that out. But Pearl, one of the girls in our team, suggested that when you're blitzing up chilies or things like this, where you might have some rice coming out the top, or then you could just put a little bit of glad wrap under the measuring cup so that everything stays in there. Right, I'm going to put this on for yeah, just about 40 seconds, whatever. Okay, that's much better. So pretty much a minute, you've got your rice flour. So I'm going to scrape that out because I know I don't use it right in a minute. So you're going to scrape it down the sides. If you're only blitzing up a small amount, I could have done this for this recipe. Because there's only a little amount in there, what you can do is actually pop your simmering basket over the top whilst you're blitzing, and that will actually keep everything closer to the blades, and you won't lose so, you know, it doesn't get pushed up so high. All right, so I'm just going to transfer it into here. Okie doke. All right, now the next thing, it's actually telling me to thoroughly clean and dry the mixing bowl. However, I have another mixing bowl, so I'm going to use that. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to whip egg whites. And one of the really important things, little video here on how to insert your butterfly. So I've got my butterfly, and all I actually have to do is just pop it over the blades and give it a little twist, clockwise twist. Okay. All right, so when you're whipping egg whites, it's important that you have a really clean bowl. And this has just been through the dishwasher, so I'm quite happy with that. If there's any grease, even if you can't see the grease, it will affect the whipping of the egg whites. So you can either put it through your dishwasher and or you can do a vinegar wash. So you could do some of the pre-clean. You could do maybe the universal pre-clean, but put your butter. Oh, I'm not sure how fast it goes on the universal pre-clean. Not sure. No, it probably goes too fast. You might chop up your butterfly. So don't put your butterfly in there, but you should make sure that your butterfly is super clean as well. Anyway, 4 egg whites. My husband wanted to see what it was like just frying egg yolks, because I told him I was going to eat egg whites. So we fried the egg yolks for breakfast yesterday. So these are just sitting in here. Pop those in there. And put my lid on. And it's maximum speed form with the butterfly always. So I'm just going to turn that up to 4. There's whipping whilst follow the next step. Add the reserved sugar, 1 tablespoon at a time, through the hole in the mixing bowl lid. So I've got, and mine's actually a dessert spoon, but I'm just going to pop that in. I've never made these before, so we'll see how we go. So a little bit left here, so I'm going to tip that in. One minute 40. So the way that this is actually whipping now is the way, and the way to add that sugar in. If you're making meringue in your Thermomix, you need to make sure that you just add the sugar in, quite slowly. You don't just dump the whole lot in. It is like a gradual adding of that, so that you get the nice glossy egg white. So this is actually quite relevant for all of that. Anything else to? I haven't made macarons. Keisha, have you made macarons at all in your Fermi?
Yes, I did macaron. Not macarons. We call it. I've made like a macarons. We call it beze in Polish. I use Polish cooking. I think there are 2 different. One was that you put salt and sugar, and the other was just sugar. So I don't know which one is better. I think I put it a little bit of salt and sugar, and it was delicious.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fantastic. So I did a macaron class in Paris. We were in Paris for my daughter's 21st quite a few years ago, and she and I went and did a macaron class, and it was. I mean, I didn't use Thermomixes, but it was really good, and we had some beautiful results. But she had to do all the piping on purpose at that time. Anyway, coming back. Yeah. Ooh, look at that. So that's pretty cool. Next, 1 teaspoon of natural vanilla. I've got to go and buy alcohol to top up my my vanilla beans. I'm just about to do that. Right, Put that in there. I had a look last night, we don't have the right alcohol. That's a bit vodka. So that's just whipping that into the egg whites. Next. All right. So I'm going to add 30 grams of the brown, hang on. Yeah, the brown rice flour, just checking which was which. So I'm going to pop that in. I think I only made 30 grams. Let me just check this recipe because I thought I only made 30 grams, but maybe I should have made more. Let's go down. 60 grams. I did 30, so I'll have to make some more in a minute. That's okay. Continue. So I'll put all that rice flour in. I'm also going to scrape the sides down too because all my my whipped egg white is on the sides there. So I'm going to push that down so it all mixes in. Okay. Half the reserved hazelnuts, so I'm just going to eyeball half of this. $40 grams of olive oil. Put one of those nozzles on the olive oil, takes a bit of arm work to get it out. There we go. It's on -1. 30 grams of soy milk. So I haven't got soy milk, but what I did make before, this is just cashew milk. So we only have milk when our daughter's coming round for a Kahlua of milk. So I just made cashew milk because it was really quick and easy to make. So I'm going to put 30 grams of that in. I've got all the froth on the top. Give it a shake. Okay. My lid on. 5 seconds, speed 3. So a bit more brown rice. Break down the sides of the spatula. So here we go. Some mixture. Just scrape that down. Add the remaining hazelnuts, so I'll chuck those in. So I have to say, there's only one Friand recipe in the UK, the US, and Australia, which I was quite amazed at, and it was only the hazelnut one. I could have subbed for almonds, but I decided I'd give the hazelnuts a little go. For 30 grams of brown rice flour, and I'm going to make some more. Teach me not to read the recipe properly. Okay. So I went to the source for my brown rice flour in a paper bag. Or brown rice, I mean. I'm going to pop the lid on that and just mill that for a minute. So to do that, all I need to do is just go to the home button. My recipe is saved. I'm going to pop this on for about 50 seconds actually, and up to that speed 9. All I can say is lucky I have no extra bowl. Otherwise, I would have to scrape everything out and put it back in again. So listen there, read the recipe properly. All right, so there we go. We've got flour. So that's, I can come back to the recipe now. 30 grams of brown rice flour. Perfect. 40 grams of olive oil. It was turning out to be a beautiful day by the look of it outside. Okay. 30 grams of my cashew milk. I'll show you the cashew milk recipe in a minute. It's a really good one to have on standby because it didn't take long at all. It's the measuring cup. This is the whole lid. And 5 seconds. Okay. My chicken's happily doing its thing here. I am just actually going to check up the top here and just give it a stir. Might need a little bit longer to cook the chicken, I think. Anyway, we'll see how we go. All right, next, remove the butterfly whisk. Divide the mixture between the prepared molds. So I'm going to make myself a little bit of space here. Move this back. I have no idea how many this is going to make, so I've just got my, so I had a little baking session yesterday because we tend to have, we just have some little mini muffins in the freezer. So you're only picking up something little if you really feel like you need something. And we'd run out. I was told I was in trouble because we'd run out. So I made Health by Chocolate torte, but I made it into mini muffins. And I made, what else did I make? Oh, magic muffins, which don't have magic stuff in them. And in fact, I left an ingredient out and they still work. So they are, they've got carrot, they've got zucchini in them. They're meant to have banana, but we don't normally eat a lot of banana. So I went and bought banana. I bought Andrew one because he sometimes likes to have one. And I left the banana out. Anyway, buckwheat flour, a little bit of milk, dates was the sweetener. So there's no sugar in them. And usually the banana obviously gives it a little bit more sweetness, but they were absolutely fine. Some pecan nuts and choc chips. So they're actually really good. So I'm going to just keep pouring these out, and then I'm going to push some berries in. So I think it makes about, if you actually had a Friands tin, it would probably not make quite as many as this, because I think they're probably a little bit bigger, but as I said, this size works for us. A bit more on that one. Okay. So I've got some blueberries and some raspberries, and I'm just literally gonna chuck some in. Chuck, you know. Whatever you want to do. And you know, obviously you could do the quince if you wanted to, but that's 40 minutes of steaming. Ooh, little surprises in there. And the reason I use these silicone molds is because I don't have to grease them, and they pop out really nicely. You can get silicone molds in the on the mix shop. However, I think I bought these before the mix shop stocked them for about $5 in Kmart or Target or something. Oops, it's got 3. Okay, right. Chuck in some raspberries, and then I'll put these in the oven. Raspberries are big. That's something I miss in the UK. Their raspberries are absolutely delicious. I don't know why, but they just seem to, they're just so full of flavour. My favourite berry. All right, so I'll just get those out of the way. And it says, bake for 10 to 15 minutes at 160. Now I've got something else that's meant to be at 170. And so I actually put it on, I think I put it on 165. Pop this in. Okay, so we'll have a look at the soup next. See what's happening here. Remove the aroma and set aside. So I'm actually just going to check the chicken because when I had a quick look before, it wasn't fully cooked. I don't have uncooked chicken. You know, I've got a couple of bits there that are still looking a little bit under. I'm actually going to put it back on. And I'm going to steam for a little bit longer and make a total mess all over my Thermomix. So I'm coming, just went the back step. I'm going to turn this on to, I only need 5. And I'm going to put that on there. I'm just going to quickly clean this up. Okay. All right, so back to the other Thermomix, and I will make these savoury muffins. I'll just see. Good stuff everywhere. All right, so 10 to 15 minutes. It is 11:36. Okay. That's cool. The tin and then transfer. Sorry about wire rack to cool. Okay, another one in here. Broccoli and chive muffins. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look at the recipe to see if I actually need to clean the bowl or not. Okay, yeah, I haven't cut enough. That's all right. Okay. So this is the bowl that had I made the rice flour in, so I'm not going to worry about cleaning that because I know what's coming on next. Start cooking. Oh, it says 180, so I'm actually in between the two. Line a 12-hole muffin tray with cupcake liners. Well, again, this was before Thermomix actually came out with silicone molds that will actually fit your baroma tray. I'm not steaming, but I bought these and I just cut them up. So I do use them for, you know, this sort of muffin. Now, if I'm doing a full-size muffin. All right, 50 grams of Parmesan cheese and 60 grams of vintage cheddar. So I've got a bit of a mixture here. It's whatever I have in the fridge. And I'm going to pop this lid on. 10 seconds, speed 7. So again, 10 seconds. Like, you know, there's no grated knuckles or anything like that. 10 seconds, you've got your grated cheese, no additives, preservatives, no anti-caking agent by buying it ready grated from the supermarket. So the broccoli florets, I've got a bit of the stem as well. No dramas with that. That's all going in. Now, I didn't have chive, so what I've done is I'm just putting some spring onion in instead. Pop my lid on. 6 seconds, speed 6. Spread down the sides. I'll quickly wash that spatula. Okay. So I've just got the broccoli and the cheeses and the spring onions in there. Now, this recipe actually says it's for babies plus, but they do have chives, not the spring onions. 3 eggs. What about the eggs? Okay. 3 eggs coming up, and as my mother taught me, I always break them into a another container. It's just here. Just so that, you know, I know we very rarely get bad eggs nowadays, but she always taught me as a kid, a long time ago, that you should always break your eggs into something separate, because if you do get a bad one, you don't want to waste all the ingredients that you've already got in your bowl. Okay. There's our 3 eggs. Grams of olive oil. Put that in here. Give the left arm a bit of a workout on both of them. And the other one's about to ping. I'm quiet for a second. All right, so that's the olive oil. 150 grams of white spelt flour. Well, I'm just using, because I do eat gluten-free, I'm just using plain white gluten-free flour. There are recipes on Cookie Do where you can make your own flour. Well, you've seen we've made the rice flour before, so it's pretty easy to do. 90 grams of milk of choice. So my cashew milk's going in. So I guess this is all because it says 10 to 12 months you can feed babies broccoli and chive muffins. And milk of choice, because, you know, some people are intolerant. It doesn't matter. I mean, even if you're not a baby, you can still be intolerant to cow's milk. So you just choose whatever you want. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Measuring cup on. 5 seconds. We've gone to reverse, speed 6. Okay, use the spatula to fold through any uncombined mixture. It's actually looking pretty good, but I will just give it a quick little stir around. Just scrape down the sides there, because that's where it will tend to stick, and just stir it around. There we go. That's all good. Divide between the cupcake liners and bake for 15 to 20 minutes. So I will pop them in here. Actually, just got another spatula I actually prefer to do this with, so I'm just going to grab that one. I'll need that one just to do the scraping. But I like this little one because it's sort of, it fits into the muffin, okay? So the reason I'm making these is, well, one, I have broccoli and I have most things in the fridge anyway. As I said, I'm substituting. But when we have soup, we just like to have something with it. And I do take lunch to work 3 days a week. Whoops, messy. So I'll take a bowl of soup or a container of soup and, you know, something like this. So again, these will go into the freezer and just pull them out when we need them. And I haven't made these before, so I thought, well, why not give them a go? the other ones I looked at, there's some keto cheese muffins. And I know they're really good, and they needed I think they need spring onion, but they're double the calories of these, so I went with the lesser calories. All right, get these in and I'll put them in the oven. Just a sec. Put that into there. All right, now you can see, turning around here, I've still got stuff here around my blades. So what I'm going to do is I am quickly going to turbo. Good stuff everywhere. Oh dear, just give my hands a quick wash. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my home screen there. I'm going to swipe left. I'm going to hit my turbo. Look at the mess. Goodness. All right. And remembering, your lid will not unlock until you have got out of turbo. So I'm just going to hit that there, which then releases my lid. And you'll see that my blades are nice and clean now. So this is where I will use a Thermomix spatula, because it does actually contour really nicely to the bowl. And scrape all this out, and I'm just got one more muffin thing to fill. I'll do that. Just top up the others. A couple are looking a little bit smaller. All right. So there are my muffin things there, and we'll come back to the soup, but I will just pop these in. So these are 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so back to our soup. I'm just remembering, whenever you take the lid off your varoma, just turn it away from you, just so the steam goes away from you. That had actually stopped, a few minutes ago. So I'm happy with that chicken now. Okay, so that's much better. Remove varoma and set aside. Divide the soup between 4 bowls. Well, we're not going to eat it right now because it's not quite lunchtime. So I'm just finding a thermos. I've got a thermo server, and I'm going to pop my soup into the thermo server. Take the lid off. Oh, I'm going to need that again in a minute. Oh, bowls and lids everywhere. So I'm just going to tip this in. You can see it is quite runny. Obviously, once the chicken's in there as well, that's going to thicken it up. So there is soup. Oops, where are we? There we go. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually shred the chicken. So I'm going to move the soup out the way, and I'm going to put my chicken back into the bowl. So I'm going to bring this up here. Tip the chicken in. Right. Pop my lid on, and shredded chicken is 4 seconds speed 4 reverse. So here we are, 4 seconds. You can see we're on reverse there, over here, and I've just got to turn up to speed 4. So it's just asking me to distribute the chicken between the 4 bowls, topped with grated cheddar cheese and sour cream. Now, as I said, we're not going to eat it away. Husband's not home yet, and not quite my lunchtime. Tend to go a little bit later. But there's the shredded chicken. I'm going to bring back my thermo server. And I'm going to pop that chicken into the soup. So there's another great soup recipe on Cookie Do. It's a creamy cauliflower soup, creamy chicken and cauliflower soup. And it does a very similar thing where you actually make the soup and you steam the chicken above, and you can season the chicken however you like. And then you shred it and you add it to your cauliflower soup. And that's a really good one as well. So I'm just going to stir that chicken in. Yum. So that, oh, hang on. Oh, it's so hard to work this camera angle sometimes. There we go. All right, so there is that line is just the sun on the soup, but there is the chicken in the Tex-Mex soup. And it suggests that you serve it with a little bit of sour cream and a little bit of avocado. So I'm just going to pop that one aside. And I'm just going to quick bowl clean, and then we will make the pesto. So I think my Friands bowl is the quickest to clean, so I'll just give that a quick going over. And I could have used the pre-clean, but obviously that's 8 minutes. There's a few seconds for this. So I'll do that quickly. And I'll get out of this recipe my week. And the reason I'm doing this is I have coriander I need to use up as well. All right, making sure my pins are dry. They can go in there. Quick little lid wash. Hold on. Okay, now just a little tip whilst we're here. Actually, it's not too bad there, but that's actually a little bit green the inside of my bowl, so I'm going to stick that out in the sun since it's come out today, and that will, not too bad, but it is a little bit green. Add some turmeric or curry powder or just tomato or something like that, and you can see that the seal on this one is quite coloured. I've got the one I did the Friands in with the egg whites. That's much more opaque. This is just from lots of use, and I tend to try and keep one bowl and lid so that I have a nice one, and this one is the one I use for every day. If you want to stop it from going this colour, you can't get it back from here, but if you want to stop it, and the same with the green colour on the inside, if you spray the lid with a little bit of oil and the seal before you use it, if you're using turmeric or tomato paste or something like that, that will actually help minimize that. But I haven't, honestly, I think when I first got it, I did a bit of that, but gets to the point where you're using it so much, you just don't do that all the time. All right, coriander pesto. Right, I have here, I have 1 garlic clove, and I have 45 grams of the stalks of the coriander. 50 grams of unsalted cashews. They are at the bottom down here. All right. But I've also got in there 40 grams of sunflower seeds and 10 grams of pepitas or pumpkin seeds. Put my lid on. And 5 seconds, speed 7. Right, just doing a quick spatula wash. Straight down the sides of the spatula. Oh, it's hot. Oh, not the spatula. So there we go. Again, I mean, how quick is that? It's just so simple. And it's a great way of using up those stalks. Put my lid on again. 8 seconds, speed 8. I'm just going to have a listen to this because if I feel like it's not chopping anymore, I'm going to bring the speed down. So I don't know if you're able to hear that with Zoom, but I couldn't hear it chopping. All right, so I'm going to actually scrape that back down. I'm going to only turn up to about speed 5 and see how we go there. So what it's doing is just pushing it to the edge of the bowl. So it did chop a little bit longer. Okay, 40 grams of lemon juice. Take the lid off. That's our basic mixture. Break it down again. Grams of lemon juice, tear my scales. I actually had a mixture of lemon and lime because I didn't have quite enough lemon. Okay. 100 grams of avocado oil. Don't have avocado, I'm using macadamia. It's a bit more of a nutty flavour. And I might just put 50 in and see what it's like when it's blended up. Because I don't necessarily like it too runny. Salt. Sure, I got that out somewhere. No. Salt. I like pepper. Okay, salt and pepper. Dulse flakes, that's seaweed, so I'm not using that. Pop my lid on. Speed 4. And we'll just have a look because I only put half the oil in. Well, I only put half the oil in. Honestly, that is wet enough for me. So what that, so I will use that in, you know, just on dishes. I can put it on vegetables. I can put it in scrambled eggs at breakfast time. It's just a way of using up things that are in the fridge. And just come back to me. Okay. So I find, you know, if you've got spinach that's left over, if you've got parsley that's left over, you've got basil that's left over, just turn it into pesto. It doesn't matter what nuts you use. You know, you can use cashews, you can use almonds, you can do, you know, whatever you want. There's a really nice pesto which uses avocado and actually uses, gone out of my head, hemp seeds. There's a hemp seed one as well. So there's lots of pestos, but honestly, you can substitute whatever you want to substitute in there in the way of nuts. Whatever you've got in your fridge that needs using up, make a pesto. And you can stir it through pasta, you can stir it through spiralized veggies. There's a great recipe on Cookie Do where you have some roasted pumpkin and you have spiralized veggies and you stir the pesto through and just have your roasted pumpkin on top. So it's a very versatile thing. Now, I don't think any of my things have finished cooking yet. I'll just have a quick look. I'll show you the friands because they are not far off, even though they're not friand shaped. So let me just see how I can do this. So there they are. I want to just get them a little bit browner, but they're looking really nice. And the other ones won't be ready for a while. But here we are. We've been an hour. We've made a soup. We've made lots of muffins. I know there's a little bit more cooking time to go. We've made a pesto. So pretty easy thing to, you know, a lot of stuff you can whip up in an